Okay, so hi. I'm really connecting right now with this archetype of Aries and the energetics of Aries and how it's technically associated with the baby. Like it's the baby sign. It's like the newborn. And I've been really tapping into this like whole narrative of like the portal and the baby and the birth canal and the whole thing as like such a metaphor because it is really like just a great metaphor for like so many things and spiritual truth. And I thought about how Aries energy is really that like bold, like I am here, I am this, I am alive, I am here, right? And they always say like it's about the I and the who you are. But then there's the truth of its polarity, which is Libra, and I'm using these mostly as archetypes to explain the point that I'm trying to make here, which I feel like is pretty profound that I just stumbled upon as I laid here. Um Libra's all about the relationship, right? Libra's all about harmony and like others. So if Aries is the self and Libra is like others in relationship, right? If you think about it, Aries, the baby can't be born without the Libra union. And even so, even if it could, the second you are born, you are not just you, you're also now immediately influenced by the circumstance. Like, even before you come out of the womb, you're influenced by the union that birthed you. And then when you come out of the womb, you're influenced by the people that you meet as you age, the experiences you have. I mean, your parents or lack thereof. And that is the relationship, that is the other, right? So the other really is so deeply intertwined with the self because there really is no self without the other, like actually and truly there is no self without the other. And that is such a like deep and true, like it's just deep truth. There is no self without the other, there is no I without the you know what I mean? And like I feel like I don't have to explain that deeper, like you either get it or you don't type thing. And it's not that hard to get, but I hope you know that, like I hope you're hearing on a deeper level, because that's how I'm intending it or how I'm resonating with it. But with that being said, I really feel like I've dealt with this polarity my whole life without having known it and like having realized it or having like verbiage or like the description available to me to describe like what I was experiencing. And I love astrology and archetypes because they help me to break that down and to give word to it. And I've been dealing with that polarity a lot, like within my own chart as well. Um, and I was just sitting outside and I was like, I'm focusing on social media again, which feels really good, coming out and like really being that like for the people person, because I've always like truly been that at the end of the day. Like even though I'm very introverted as a being and like very like to myself as a soul, I am very like I love connecting with people and I love being seen and I love like seeing others. Like it's just like my favorite thing ever. And I was just thinking like, wow, as I'm being this I am, this bold I am, like I am a teacher. I am a radiant spiritual being who deserves to be seen. I am ready to be recognized. I am ready to this. I then am immediately drawn to the other. And I'm just realizing how I think as creators or people who put themselves out there, first of all, there's not enough credit for people who do that because it really does take courage to make yourself vulnerable. Because I'm just thinking, like, wow, people really could just judge me and bully me. And like, I would have zero control over that. Like, zero control at all. And there's a bumblebee over there. And it's just fascinating. It's just honestly really fascinating because I feel like I'm healing the imbalance between like my relationship to collectives in the past that did not serve me. So like I was giving and giving and giving, and I don't think I was actually being poured back into. I was receiving validation, which felt good, but I wasn't actually being poured back into. Um the only time I was being poured into was when I could really feel that people were like really receiving it and they expressed that. But even that's not really like validation isn't the equivalent of like the value that I give when I share and show up. Like, you know, like I feel like I'm instantly validated because I exist. So like me showing up and then someone validating me, that's not an equal give and take. You know what I mean? Like, so then there's the question, like, what is an equal give and take, you know? Um and I guess it's not all about what I take back. It's just more so about like the level of support. Like if I'm offering wisdom that like really supports people, and then I feel like they only care about like certain people only care about like who, like how I look, or like how I show, oh my god, it was a butterfly, how I show up in a very particular way. Like they're less worried about like who I am. They're more so worried about what it is that I bring, when those two things are so intrinsically connected. Like they're so intrinsically connected. So when I zoom it back to like when I was a child and I was discovering who I am and I was being who I am, and this happens to so many people, then we like have these friend groups that don't suit us. We have these friend groups that make us question ourselves and like say these little jokes that like actually literally ingrain themselves in your nervous system and like in your subconscious mind and in your body, and then all of a sudden now you have this like fear or this insecurity that you didn't have before. That affects your relationship to the I am. How others treat you, especially when you're young, especially when you're vulnerable, especially when you're being bold and naive, like this full energy, you know, like if you know tarot, like the way people treat you, if it's imbalanced or if it's unfair, if it's unjust, that really does, can it really does do damage. And I feel like people don't talk about that enough, especially not when talking about like the Aries-Libra axis. Like people are just like, oh, Aries is so powerful, Aries is so this. Aries is also super sensitive, like super sensitive, and like loves people. And I feel like people don't talk about that. People don't talk about that enough, you know? Like they're gonna do what they want regardless, but they love people. If it wasn't for people, it's like I feel like Aries wouldn't, I don't know. I'm not an Aries, let me not speak on it. But do I need to be? You know what I mean? To understand the energy? No. But yeah, I'm just thinking about how I'm really like having to heal my relationship to the idea of showing up, like finding balance in being this bold expression of me, but also like dealing with the fact that once I do show up, I'm now like at the mercy of like other people's response. Not in the sense that like, oh, if they respond negatively or positively, it's going to change my entire like feeling, but it is going to have an energetic impact, because that's the give and take. You know what I mean? The energetic exchange is the give and take. So I have to make sure that I'm like actively healing this imbalance that I have experienced in the past. Like, and it's been a thing I've experienced in relationships, in every form, financially, just like this like imbalance. Like I'm either giving too much or I'm like spending too much, or I'm, it's just, it's not equivalent. And I feel like that me showing up is like the fact that I'm being given a chance to heal that imbalance makes me showing up so much more important. And I just think it's so beautiful how those energies like work together, like the self and others. They're really not separate. They're really not at all. Like they're inseparable, quite literally. Because what is others? It's just two selves, or one or more selves. You know what I mean? And what is the self? It's just a product of two selves. So it's just like, I don't know. So yeah, like showing up is really powerful for that same reason, but it's also really potentially damaging. And I think we have to face the trauma that occurs when we show up and like someone says a negative remark, or somebody doesn't fully support us or only supports us in this way because it supports them. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very sensitive to that type of imbalance. And I think I'm realizing how much it has actually settled into my being and my relationship to others. And I'm not going to let it hold me back anymore, but I am going to keep it in mind as I move forward, that I don't get caught in the same imbalance of sacrificing myself for others, but then also like keeping myself away from others because of the trauma that has happened in the past, if that makes sense. And I tend to elaborate on this. I intend to elaborate on this and like make it, you know, more clear and precise. I'm kind of just thinking it out right now, but yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah. I don't know if anyone's ever going to listen to this, but if you do, let me know what you think. That can be our energy exchange. Let me know what you think. Like, look, let me know what you think. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. But yeah. Um yeah, that's it.